box here. Some of you have been asking me about the other engine on 6133, and it needs some work. So I'm here to show you today exactly what it needs. So let's have a little bit of a tour, and hopefully we can get this thing running sometime in the summer. Okay, this Detroit diesel series 6110 engine, remanufactured in June of '92. Engine number 2 on RPDX 6133. You can see here, I'll show you the problem that we're having with this one when we did the first inspection on it. This cylinder here, alright, the center rod, the center push rod you're looking at is the injector. The one on the left is an exhaust, the one on the right is an exhaust. Okay, so that's a push rod's coming up from the camshaft, and you can see we have a broken spring. That's the keeper. This broken spring's underneath it. It should look like this one here, where it's all nice and good, and you got that clip right there. Now these are return springs, not the actual valve springs. Which are right here. There's the valve springs. Okay, so those are the actual valve springs, and what we actually have broken on them is the return spring. So to take that, to repair that, you have to take the whole assembly out. It sounds more difficult than it actually is, but getting the parts is the hard part for these things. We have spare parts, they just happen to be in Moncton. So that's mechanically what's wrong with this engine that I found so far. Once we get into it a bit more, hopefully I don't find anything more. But the other issue is I have to replace this water hose, this radiator hose, and that's the quick disconnect for when you want to change the engine. These things are amazing for that. There's like 4 or 5 different things you do it, and then you undo, and then you drop the engine out onto a cradle, and it just rolls it out from underneath, and you can work on it outside the car. So much easier. But that being said, we need to replace that hose, and I think we're going to replace this one just on the purpose of we might as well do it since we're into this thing. That fuel line too, I don't like any chafing and stuff on a fuel line. That one's on its way out, so we'll replace that as well. Filters, all filters will be replaced. Those are the fuel filters down there, and that's the water pump in behind there. It's okay. And your dipstick and your starter. And coming into here, this needs to be oiled up. This is your governor and throttle and rack settings. So this is the rack up here, and if I can get a bit of a light on it, you'll be able to see it move. Yeah, and the rack is nice and free, and that's a problem with Detroit, so that if the rack sticks you get a runaway, and we definitely don't want a runaway. So the rack is good on this one. And those are the solenoids that control your governor and your speed. And a lot of those go on these things. I know some guys in the States are looking for them. And hopefully I can grab a few spares. And anybody that needs one, they can give me a call. Moving along on this, you have the oil filters and the transmission filters and the transmission back there, and this here's the starter relay. And some of the wiring it's not too bad, but it's a little mungy. I'd like to repair some of the wiring that's in this. So the other thing is that the air intake has been patched and taped. I'd like to replace this whole air intake tube so that we have proper filtered air coming into the engine. I've already replaced the air filters, which is down here past the antifreeze tank, and that guy right there is your air filter, and I've already replaced those with new ones, so that's a good thing. But all in all, for something that was taken out of service, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if that was the reason why it was taken out of service. We'll see once we get into it a bit more. As we run this thing, I'll be able to tell if it's how the engine and tranny are working. This end is unknown at this point, but I still also have to, on this end, install the spicer drive, the cardan shaft. And yeah, so that's what needs to be done on this end. The other end right now, as you saw, it's up and running. There's a few more checks, like I said, that has to be done. A bit of wiring I'd like to do on that one as well before we really start to work on it and make it work.